Good morning, Chairman Hollings and members of the committee, and thank you very much for inviting me here today. We have submitted a longer statement, and I'll make a few summary comments in my opening remarks. Before I begin, I really want to commend this group for holding this hearing to address in a serious and thoughtful way the financial turmoil facing the telecommunications industry, an industry that is vital to our nation's health and well-being. Since my last appearance before a congressional committee this past March, the industry-wide crisis has deepened, and several of our competitors have filed for bankruptcy. The time is ripe for congressional attention, an expression of congressional confidence in the country's telecommunications infrastructure. Having filed for bankruptcy protection in January, we've made significant progress at Global Crossing towards turning around the company. We hope that our experience and perspectives will be useful to the committee as it assesses the prospects for the future of the telecommunications industry. Now, how did our nation's telecommunication industry, with its unparalleled infrastructure, advanced telecommunications services, and vigorous competition, find itself in a state of financial crisis? Before attempting to answer that question, I'd like to talk briefly about Global Crossing and our experience. Our company was launched in 1997, and in just a few years, we've completed a global fiber optic network that spans 101,000 miles and is operational now in 220 cities in 27 countries. We provide some of the world's most advanced telecommunications services to tens of thousands of customers, both in the United States and around the world. Many of the world's telecommunication carriers, multinational corporations, and governments depend on us for their communication needs. And even in bankruptcy, we continue to sign up new customers based on the strengths of our state-of-the-art Internet protocol-based network and our industry-leading advanced services, as well as continued superior network performance and customer service. And on behalf of Global Crossing and its employees, let me say how proud we are of that accomplishment. So what has happened to our industry over the last year or so? I believe we were caught in what I'll call a perfect storm of unexpected drops in demand, rapidly declining prices, a perception of capacity glut by our customers, an economic and financial downturn, a closure of capital markets, and finally, the debt we incurred to build our unprecedented global network. These factors cannot be oversimplified, and they have forced telecommunication companies of every sort, domestic as well as international, local as well as long distance, wireless as well as wireline, into the protection of the bankruptcy laws. Going into last year, the telecommunications industry and analysts who studied the industry foresaw a nearly unending appetite for capacity, fueled by customer demand for broadband applications. At the time, the growth of the Internet usage was astonishing, posting gains of several 100% a year. New bandwidth-consuming applications seemed to be just around the corner, and the capital markets were providing funds to new telecommunications and Internet companies. Global Crossing, as well as other next-generation telecommunications companies, relied on these forecasts, as did capital markets that supplied the funds to build our businesses. We built our networks to meet this expected demand. In fact, we built ahead of demand by necessity, given the long lead times required to build new capacity. But demand forecasts were predicated in part on hurdling the last mile, deploying broadband to the home and to the office. And for various reasons, take-up of broadband has taken a lot longer than industry experts had expected. In the middle of 2001, our customers began to perceive that there was an oversupply of capacity. Many of them decided to wait out the market, hoping for prices to drop, and drop they did, much more rapidly and dramatically than had been forecast by all the industry analysts. Finally, the larger economic crunch hit our industry, and hit hard. The economy slowed worldwide, affecting our business customers, and at the same time, many of our carrier customers faced both slowing demand and financial difficulties of their own. Short-term demand for our network and services began to decline rapidly in the last half of last year, and the cash needed to support our cost structure and business plan did not materialize. It had been suggested that our company and the industry's financial issues were caused by accounting irregularities. Speaking for Global Crossing, it's this perfect storm that I've described, not how we accounted for a relatively small portion of our overall revenues, that left us with no choice but to file bankruptcy. We take very seriously the accounting allegations, and we're cooperating fully with the SEC and other investigations in their inquiry into our accounting practices. But accounting practices are neither the cause nor the cure for the business problems that we faced at Global Crossing. Since I joined the company last October, through our bankruptcy filing and to this very day, we've taken aggressive measures to turn the company around. We reduced operating expenses by over 50% and capital expenditures by over 90% since last year, and far greater when compared to expenditures in 2001. We're changing our cost structure, we're redesigning our business model, but importantly, we are not compromising at all on the quality of our networks or our service. We focused on customer retention and lost very few customers. In fact, we gained new ones. Despite all the odds, we're delivering on our promises. We have thousands of dedicated and loyal employees who have maintained service across our network. We've met or surpassed every operational financial target this year, and the future of our company is looking far brighter than it did in January, in a large measure due to some very painful but necessary actions that we've taken during the past year. We're proud not to have compromised on the integrity of our expansive telecom infrastructure during these times, and customers in this nation will benefit enormously from this in years to come. Now, is there a role for public policy as the industry moves through this painful period of transition? First, there must be a commitment to encourage fair competition in the telecommunications marketplace. Second, we urge the remaining telecommunications bottleneck, the local market, to be opened up to the extent possible by enforcing and monitoring compliance with current regulations. Third, we believe that Congress ought to look at ways to ensure that fees and policies for access to public rights of ways are reasonable, and also to ensure that competitors have access to buildings. Fourth, it's essential to promote competition and, most importantly, bring down the price of local access so that the promise of broadband can be realized. And maybe I can illustrate the last point by simply noting that sending a signal from London to New York on our network costs a fraction of the amount we pay to a local incumbent to terminate that same signal in Manhattan for the last mile connection to a customer. In closing, we remain confident of the original vision of a global, seamless, fiber optic-based IP network with a full suite of advanced services, and when we emerge from bankruptcy, which we hope will be early next year, we fully believe that we will be in a position to create jobs and create value. With the cooperation of our industry partners, the financial markets, and the Congress, we can work together to restore the confidence of the American people. We believe that our industry can recover from this current financial crisis and will continue to serve as an integral part of the engine for economic growth. And on behalf of thousands of Global Crossing employees and customers, let me reaffirm that we very much expect to be a part of that recovery. Thank you once again for the opportunity to share our perspective.